Welcome to a special edition of VidZet's podcast series. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. This morning I was reading through a number of articles that were posted on the Real Clear Politics aggregation site, and one by Andrew Sullivan in New York Magazine caught my eye. It was titled "The Cult and the Cover-Up." Now, Andrew Sullivan is a typical left-wing writer, and if we read through the first paragraph of his article, we discover a number of things that tell us how the left wing thinks. And so let me just walk through these very quickly. First of all, he states, the president had kept Mike Flynn on his staff many days after learning he was a security risk. He states this as a fact. The fact of the matter is, Mike Flynn was on staff. He had spoken incorrectly, misleadingly, to the vice president, and when the vice president learned he'd been lied to, he went to the president, and Mike Flynn got fired. The statement that the president knew Mike Flynn was a security risk for days and was still kept on staff is a lie. Second statement, Trump had asked FBI Director Comey to give him his personal loyalty, then fired him because he was frustrated that the investigation into ties between the Trump campaign and the Russian government was continuing. No, there are two lies in this. First of all, there has never been any evidence that Trump asked Director Comey for personal loyalty. That is simply not true. Then firing him because he continued to investigate the Russian connection, that's also a lie. He fired Director Comey because Director Comey was, as he said later, a loose cannon. He talked about all kinds of things. Basically, it's called talking out of school. And he has to have an FBI director who will operate within proper norms of investigative action. The fact that the FBI has 20 investigators actively working on the Russian connection hasn't changed. So there were two lies in that statement. There's another one. Trump then lied repeatedly about this and sent senior staffers out there to lie as well. No, that's another lie. So what do we have? 3 lies so far? He threatened the FBI director with alleged tapes of their conversations. That is again a lie. The tweet about he'd better hope there are no tapes is one of those things where, has anybody heard of sarcasm or a tweak? Trump knows there are tapes of things he said, and the FBI has them. So he's tweaking Comey. He better hope that I don't have any tapes on him. It's a pure and simple humorous jab. And it has no threat in it at all. But only the left discovers it's going to be a threat. So there's a fourth lie. Then we also discovered that Trump had carelessly betrayed a critical ISIS source while bragging to Foreign Minister Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Kislyak in the Oval Office. This is another lie. Put bluntly, this was a comment by someone who supposedly would know, but who wasn't there, making the claim. And 2 people who were there flatly deny it. So who do we believe? Do we believe someone who was there and says, hell no, it didn't happen? Or do we believe somebody who said, oh, I know how things go in there, and I heard that this happened, so it must be true? Secondhand so-called information is something called gossip. Put bluntly, this is why we should never listen to these left-wing commentators. They have sucked up the Kool-Aid. They believe lies because they fit their storyline. Then they report them as truth. Classic case. We are investigating Russian collusion. No, we're not. We're investigating whether there was Russian collusion, and so far we found no evidence. Bottom line, the left has no information. They scream, they scream, they scream. I have friends on Facebook on the left, and they constantly scream about this or that or the other thing similar to what Andrew Sullivan put out that was a lie. and they treat it as truth. They're not willing to look behind the headline. All they go is, oh, I have an anti-Trump headline, I'm good to go. And as I recall, 93% of all of the media coverage of Trump is negative. My goodness. Wasn't the reporting trade supposed to report what the news was, not to create the news? Wasn't reporting separate from commentary? Maybe we should all sit back and say, maybe Trump's right. The media is our enemy. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. Thanks for listening.